Right.
Good morning, good morning.
Hey, what's up, Temple?
Good morning.
No,
Nash is filling in for chair. We're waiting on Miss Melanie. We have to get her to get a quorum.
Is it cold enough out there for you, Tim? Oh, yeah. These mornings have gotten to the point. It does make the coffee better in the morning. Yes, indeed. Get some nice hot coffee. Absolutely. Tim, would you like us to put a chair, sir? You sitting back there. He didn't tell the phone.
Is November 1st. His mother, who was a teenage mom, she was out here for treatment. She didn't go to the hospital, so he was born 3 months.
Good, man.
November 1st.
Congratulations.
So she had, yes,
I would think so.
She was trick-or-treating, yeah. And
Oh.
so,
Is it done?
of course,
You've signed the dotted line.
over
He's
6
closed.
days. So, Mama did.
So you haven't closed yet. But that's,
Because he showed up.
When you come, oh, okay.
when you get the keys, you sign your life away on this big stack of papers. that-
I just.
Sign here, sign here, sign
Think
here.
I'm playing.
Awesome. That's
Yeah, that's like this.
Oh,
And they go, what they do is they go through it so fast, you're just like, okay.
hey, Mr. Tolbert.
Okay.
This is Mr. Tolbert.
Oh, hey.
Where are you from?
Most of my dad's side family is from over in like
So I always tease him.
Yeah, we got, we're kin back, way back,
I said, I always tease him.
like red level Alabama, 1800.
Nice to meet you. I don't know, maybe somewhere down the line.
It's a long, my
That's
ancestors
okay.
researched all that, or.
Right.
Evergreen, red level. Hezekiah, I think, was the one that moved from red level.
It is a very good
David had it.
I got some gray hair.
Why did you go up here?
Well, that's what, you know, when you go out the bar, you see, what is it off the, is that 80, is that 87? It's like Ronnie, there's a couple of like bonds over there.
It was like Bam Bam. He's like,
We've been there since 1865.
Oh, wow.
hey, but
I know
it's done.
years and years ago when, me and my wife went to, over to Destin one weekend.
Right, it's very much.
Now, there's some good ones too. They were way back.
Once you get to.
We were checking into this hotel and they said, oh, you guys did an upgrade. And we're like, really? Oh, you almost became the Tolbert. So we're like, yes, we are.
So, Dylan and I
East
first
on
went
that,
through it, we
I don't think
didn't
it's
have
mine.
anybody that can give advice.
On Oakley's Island.
We just
Calls on that.
rumbled
That's
our
where
way
Ken,
through it.
kinda like we're way back.
I guess it's gonna be like.
Well, that's what my grandfather was, Willie, Willie Allen, and then my dad was William, and then I got William, so there's a
You
while.
don't lean on.
If you go back, there's a lot of them. And what was the first name you said that had the?
Hezekiah, I think it was, the one. There was two brothers, my great grandfather, way back.
They're cute. Pumpkin,
Actually, homestead, moved from red level to, not only Egley now, they're all homesteads.
It's all in them.
And I wanna say Hezekiah,
I'll just start trying to dig into it a little bit.
I think he moved to Bay Minette.
We still have, I still have an aunt and uncle that way, and a couple cousins, you know, one of my cousins is I'm assuming, I think he's still the chief of police for Bay Minette.
Well, yeah,
So,
I heard he just got.
I'm horrible, I don't do social media and stuff, so I always find out like 6
I
months
heard it on
later.
news.
So, I got to.
I heard it on the news, and I don't, I guess.
So something.
Yeah.
Don't let it
Well,
go
if you'd have
to
known
the
when he was
cities.
younger, it's amazing that he ended up
Is
law
that what
enforcement.
Jason
He was
got
the
on
biggest
right?
troublemaker that, you know.
Well, that's the way it is.
His grandmother said that things, and he was band-aid.
Some old families. That's the way out there.
Melanie, yeah, she said she was gonna be about 10 minutes late, but yes.
It'll be worth the wait.
Everybody, unfortunately, everybody's can, but you got free Congress.
Right.
It's the whole gamut. I just want.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nice meeting you.
Is there some wrong with Angela was in here yesterday, wasn't it?
Well, he needs to fix what's wrong.
Yeah.
Did we issue a CO?
We have not. Yeah, I told Jason to do not pass that round until we get
Yeah, I mean,
clear.
there's a low spot. The other corner. Sure.
Buses go by, they know that they, into the one county. One big.
Into the Raleigh.
Well,
And me and his missus, Candy, and Joy back.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
People show up, whether it's friends and neighbors, they'll, run,
Did you see what I was talking about?
so you hit our house and you're back. You're good for the night. It is wonderful.
It's famous. He made that. It was where the driveway loops around, it's on that far corner over there. Not towards the garage.
oh, okay, I didn't walk over.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's, yeah, it was over there.
Well, I mean, okay.
Well, it's a VA line, but she got it.
I told her. Oh. Yeah, well, that's good. I told her, I said, we're lucky that we don't live there.
That's great.
How much knowledge do you allow compared to what's?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we don't lose, I've always had serious. So many years.
Roger, where's your sense of adventure?
She's not,
And so they all,
but we need to fix that.
that's why we have this great, that's why we have this great stores. You know, all the great Asian food. You get it all. It's phenomenal. And so,
No, there's code. Stay code.
everybody does decide on it. They really do. They have sandwiches.
What I would do,
Very
If
shallow.
you have the time to wait, they have food. And fresh vegetables you want, and you can get it in huge quantities. So when I make bok choy, I mean, you get huge, you get pounds and pounds of bok choy. You know, baby bok choy is my favorite. Oh my gosh. I just have to, when I feel like cooking, I have to get the bok choy.
Oh, yeah.
okay,
Just by the time I make them, like, I'll just eat crap again.
Oh, no.
That's what I did last night. My friend was like, you wanna go get dinner?
one thing I do,
Right.
I go
Like,
get
I
you
really
everything
have.
that's working for them, so you fix it.
My spark, you know, my creative spark is done. Yeah, that's crazy. And I have YouTube.
Just to let everybody know in the audience, in case you didn't already, we are waiting to get a quorum. One of our board members should be here shortly,
So I signed up.
and so we're just waiting for an additional board member.
I should have known. Yeah, and so now I'm just catching up on all 5 seasons. And I-
How your body functions.
I went,
I know.
it's perfect hair. It is not perfect hair. This takes work.
Yes, I still have a DVD player and I still have tape. I don't ever get, the big TV, even the little TV. I saw it, and I saw it for 1-inch TVs, it's this big, that has music. So it's supposed to be just.
Okay, it's a little tiny TV, and it looks like a little field TV.
Good morning.
All right, now.
We'll go ahead and start the meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Turn your microphone on.
Thanks, everybody, for showing up. If you could, please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Hey, Miss Jennifer, you want to go over the board rules for us, please?
Yes, sir. Please silence all cell phones. If you wish to speak, please let the board secretary know in advance. Otherwise, raise your hand for the board chair to recognize your request. When the chairman calls you to speak, come to the podium, adjust the microphone, and state your name and address for the record. You are requested to keep your remarks brief and factual. Both parties of an issue will be granted uniform maximum time to speak, usually runs between 3 to 5 minutes. This hearing is considered quasi-judicial. Conduct is formal and profane or derogatory comments will not be tolerated.
Thank you. And can we have determination of quorum, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. With 5 members present, we do just have a quorum.
Thank you. And do we have proof of publication?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. It was published October 30th, 2025 in the Pensacola News Journal.
Thank you again. And if I can get approval of the minutes for the September 3rd, 2025 meeting?
Motion to approve.
Yeah. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes. So we do have a public forum. Do you have anybody to speak on public forum today?
I did not receive any speaker request forms, but you may want to poll the audience.
Okay. Do we have anybody that would like to speak that is not on the agenda today? Please state so now. No, we have nobody. Thank you. Do we have a board secretary status report?
I have nothing for the board today. I will be, Mary did remind me about discussion topic we had at our last board meeting over the questions that are on our applications. I'm going to get some feedback from y'all, so y'all should see an email coming out shortly to get feedback on those questions.
Thank you for that. All right, so we'll go into our contractor applications. We'll start with the first one. Logan, I'm not going to pronounce the second.
Yes, sir. The first applicant is Mr. Logan Omtivit. And Mr. Omtivit, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
My name's Logan Omtivit. My address 802 Old Novak Road, Cantonment, Florida 32533.
All right, Mr. Omtivit is applying for the Master Plumber with Gas examination. He combined his education with hands-on experience in the trade and appears before you today with 1 year and 10 months of experience working in the plumbing trade, and provided us with his 4-year apprenticeship certificate for plumber at the Technical College in Florida, found in the agenda items. He also provided us with a copy of his Alabama Journeyman's Gas Fitter license that he got in 2024 with license number JG3576, and he currently holds an Alabama Master Plumber license with license number MP4603 that you also can find in the agenda items. He worked as a plumber with Amore Plumbing Company Incorporated, under the supervision of Justin Tyner, who holds an active license with number CFC 1430445 since 2019. And I spoke with Mr. Justin Tyner yesterday, who said that Logan was a great employee and he was lucky to have him on the team when verifying the applicant's employment. And Mr. Omnivid's responsibilities include, but are not limited to, piping, drains, waste vents, piping, fitting, trenching, backfilling, and underwater tie-ins, supervising 10 or more crew members with 20 plus projects according to the documents provided. With this in consideration, with the hands-on experience working in the plumbing trade and education certificate from the accredited college provided by the applicant, staff recommends approval of application for examination.
Thank you. Mr. Logan, would you want to say anything to us before we render a decision?
No, sir. I think I'm good.
Okay. Any questions from the board? If not, I'll seek a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
You have a motion? We have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Board members, our next applicant to appear before you today is Miss Melissa Freeman. Ms. Freeman, if you would please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Melissa Freeman, 224 Payne Road, Pensacola, Florida, 32507.
Ms. Freeman appears before you today requesting to take the Roofing Unlimited examination. She was qualified by license holder James Freeman of Freeman Roofing, license number CCC 1334173. She has 8 years, 9 months, and 29 days of experience. The application that was provided did have the old experience verification form, but I did include it as there was detailed experience listed on this form. I did ensure that the qualifier did complete the new experience form as well. She has experience in directly supervising commercial and residential jobs, providing hands-on training and experience in installation methods, repair techniques, and OSHA safety requirements. She is experienced in the day-to-day operations of running the business, overseeing jobs, as well as working with architects and engineers to design roofs and ensure proper materials are being utilized for each job. While completing the application, Ms. Freeman did answer yes to the financial and criminal history questionnaire, question number 1. She did provide a copy of the court record as well as a written explanation for the board. Because of the questionnaire, staff will defer to the board for approval.
Thank you. Ms. Freeman, would you like to say anything to the board?
Yeah. Actually, I've been in the roofing industry my whole life. Whenever I was a little girl, my dad used to take me up on the roof with him, give me a 2x4, give me a hammer and a nail, and just give me something to keep me busy all day. I have worked with architects to help design or help them to modify their specs because they had the specs written for Firestone, and they were putting we were putting the roof on Sonny's and IHOP, and I had to bring it to their attention that we can't use that because that material is not animal fat soluble. So I've worked with that. I've ran the crews, over 20 crews, Hurricane Ivan, Hurricane Michael, Hurricane Sally, Gustav, Katrina. We went to New Orleans to help with that area at that time. So I just want to continue our family legacy. We've been here for 50 years. I've been pulling permits here since 1990s, so you'll see me on that list. But we just want to continue, I want to continue the legacy that my family has built.
We appreciate that. Thank you. We're familiar with the Freeman name in Escambia County.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions? No questions? None? Look for a motion?
Yeah, make a motion for accepting her for going to the test.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Motion to approve or second.
So we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Alrighty, the next applicant appearing before you today is Mr. Craig Marshall. All right, Mr. Marshall, if you will, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
Craig Marshall, Navarre, Florida, 7544 Loop Street, 32566.
Alrighty, Mr. Marshall is applying to reciprocate his Okaloosa County license for air conditioning Class B with license number RA13067676, and he appears before you today with 6 years and 10 months of experience working as journeyman refrigeration specialist for Reliance Test and Technology. He provided us with his W-2 forms to verify his experience from 2019 to 2024, along with his state registered license currently active in the year of 2025 that you can find in the agenda items. Mr. Marshall responsibilities include, but are not limited to, repair and maintenance for industrial, commercial, and residential HVAC, refrigeration systems, ensure projects were completed by rotating shifts while supervising 12 staff members, and making a list of projects to complete for downtime maintenance according to the documents provided. Now, with the consideration of this being an application for reciprocity, staff will defer to the board for final decision.
Thank you. Mr. Marshall, oh, sorry. Yeah, Mr. Marshall, would you like to say anything to the board?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Nobody wants to talk today, huh? All right, I'll leave it to the board if they have any questions.
Motion to approve?
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Our next applicant to appear before you is Mr. William Tolbert. Mr. Tolbert, if you will please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, sir.
William Wesley Tolbert, 770 Nowak Road, Cantonment, Florida, 32533.
Mr. Tolbert appears before you today requesting to reciprocate his master plumber with gas license number RF11068023 from Santa Rosa County to Escambia County. He has held his license since May 9th, 2025 in Santa Rosa County. Prior work experience consists of 2 years working for Roto-Rooter Plumbing from 2002 to 2004, license holder Lane Cheney, license number CFC 1427374. At that time, the business was owned by the qualifier's father, Mr. Frank Cheney. However, all operations were being ran by the son. Mr. Frank Cheney's license number was CFC 057961. I did reach out and speak to Mr. Cheney. He told me that Mr. Tolbert had experience with infield tech, service calls, sewer lines, repipes. He had nothing but very good things to say about the applicant. He was disappointed to lose him. Said that he has extremely good craftsmanship and it would certainly be open to rehire if that were possible. He also worked for Coastal Plumbing Sewer, license holder Michael Davis, license number RF 11067191 from 2016 to 2018. Upon reaching out to Mr. Davis, he stated Mr. Tolbert has experience with new single-family builds like commercial work and did state that he is very qualified. Additionally, he did work for First Class Plumbing, license holder Travis Rose, license number RF 11067561, 2017 to 2019. Mr. Rose stated that he was very reliable, trustworthy, and assisted him with remodels and service calls. You will note that his test scores were included in the application, showing that he did pass his trade with a score of 81%, business and law with a score of 86%, and when we were able to verify financial criminal history is clear. Because this is an application for reciprocity, staff will defer to the board for approval.
Thank you. Mr. Tolbert, do you like to say anything?
No, I'm pretty good. So
Very
I think one of the first one he brought up, Lane Cheney. I think we also got one from his brother Shane or Lane. There's two brothers, Shane and Lane. I'm sorry, but Lane I think actually had the plumbing license, and I think the time there. I'm 46. I was a young man then, so we had some good laugh stories trying to figure out, hey, exactly, because I don't have my tax stuff from. So I'm like, I know I got married at this date. I started here, so I think it was actually closer to 3 years with them anyway. But I know when Shane did it, we just had taught. But anyway, so I think there's a little bit more time there. And then I also did a year with a local union, which is not around anymore, so I can't really verify that one. But I took a little bit of a hiatus. I think Nick had looked up. I had my adjournment through Escambia County when I was like 21 years old.
He did, and we did include that in the packet as well. The journeyman was through Escambia County.
All right, thanks.
So anyway, and then you know me from when I was a trade specialist for Home Depot.
I do.
I still have a little part-time gig. I still show up on Sunday every once in a while here. So
Yeah, I do. All right, so I'll defer to the board, and if they have any questions or if they would like to go for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. In favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you.
yeah.
No.
All right, and finally, board, our final applicant to appear before you is Mr. Ronald Jansen. Mr. Jansen, if you will please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Ron Jansen, 19345 Three Rivers Road, Seminole, Alabama.
Mr. Jansen appears before you today requesting reinstatement of his license. He did take his license inactive with the Department of Business and Professional Regulation August 31st, 2015. He has maintained the inactive status. He did not keep a current inactive status through Escambia County, but does wish to bring the license current with us and then maintain that current inactive status from today forward. All documentation needed was provided to staff, so staff will defer to the board for reinstatement of this license.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Jennifer, have we had this applicant come in the past, or is this the first time?
No, this would be the first time I've seen
Okay.
Mr. Rom.
Would you like to say anything to the board?
No, I think it's just a paperwork issue. My license has been inactive since, I don't know exactly what date, but I got it in 97 and we used it for a few years. And then my brother obtained a building contractor's license, so we listed mine as inactive just for a backup. With 35 employees, you need to have a backup plan. So that's the plan, just to put it back inactive and just keep it in case something happens.
All right, thank you. I'll defer to the board. Board, any questions?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Need a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we'll move into the probable cause hearings.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Our first item under probable cause is David G. Rodemacher doing business as Horizon Home Improvements, Inc., state registered license number RX 110666706, contractor competency board complaint number 250651 COM. It's in regard to an actual complaint that started within our office. We received notice that Santa Rosa County had disciplined Mr. Rodemacher, and so that was brought to our board for further review since we are his licensing jurisdiction. This matter was continued from our last probable cause hearing. Mr. Rodemacher had filed an appeal of that decision in Santa Rosa County. Ultimately, that appeal was denied. That is part of the agenda items. We can go back through the investigation report if you would like. And we can take it from there. Mr. Rodemacher, are you present today? Mr. Rodemacher is not present, so it's at the board's discretion of how you would like to proceed.
So our directive would be to move to disciplinary hearing?
That's correct. I'm going to bring up the investigation report. Again, we did have this hearing before. And the investigation report cited code section 1837C7, reference revocation or suspension of a certificate holder's registration by the CILB or by a certificate holder's certificate of competency from another jurisdiction may be considered by this board as just cause for suspension or revocation of our certificate of competency. And then Melissa has her justification there along with the supporting documentation.
Okay, thank you. So We'd have to do a motion to move it into disciplinary.
That is correct. That's what is before this board today, is whether you would like to proceed disciplinary.
Okay, so if the board wants to discuss, we can discuss, so we can move it to disciplinary. So we need a motion for that. Do we have no discussion? We'll go for a motion.
Motion to move to disciplinary hearing.
We have a motion to move to disciplinary. We need a second. We have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. And motion carries to move to disciplinary.
For the
David G. Radmacher,
alleged violations
Alleged
within
violations.
the report.
Code Section 18-37C7.
Thank you.
You should probably get that motion and, or I would redo the motion to make sure that everybody's on board on the 1837.
Okay, so
Just do a
you want to just
who was your first? Who did?
Motion to move to disciplinary hearing for violation of code section 18-37C7.
need a second?
Second.
Okay, go through the motion again?
Go through the vote again.
Okay, so all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is James F. Howard doing business as James F. Howard Construction, Inc., State Registered License Number RC 29027807, Contractor Competency Board Complaint Number 250762, COM. It's in regard to Lily Johnson, the complainant at 2301 West Michigan Avenue, number 39, Pensacola, Florida 32526. Mr. Howard, are you present today? And Ms. Johnson, are you present today? And are you going to provide testimony for this hearing today? At this time, I'm going to have Ms. Johnson and our investigator, Ms. Reber, sworn in. Ms. Reber will remain sworn for the duration of these hearings. Ms. Johnson, if you'd like to, you can just have a seat right here beside Ms. Reber. We're going to go through Ms. Reber's investigation, and then the board will hear from you. Ms. Reber, was a complaint filed with this board in regard to this case number?
Yes, it was.
And who was the subject of the complaint?
James F. Howard, doing business as James F. Howard Construction, Inc.
And what is the address on file for Mr. Howard?
1310 Missouri Boulevard, Pensacola, Florida 32514.
And was notice sent to the respondent in regard to this hearing today?
Yes, it was.
And is the documentation in regard to that notice attached to the agenda?
Yes, it is.
What type of license does Mr. Howard hold?
He's a state registered roofing contractor.
Who is the complainant for this case?
Lily O. Johnson.
During your investigation, did you come up with any alleged violations? If so, can you take us through those violations and your justification as well as any supporting documentation?
Yes, I did. Code section 1837D8, mismanagement or misconduct causing financial harm to the customer. Justification is the roof leaked, causing damage to the ceiling inside the home. My supporting documentation is investigators exhibit C. There's inspection photos. Code section 1837D9H, failure to supervise construction activities. Justification is determination by Escambia County that code violations exist. Supporting documentation, investigators exhibit D, inspection photos showing code violations. Code section 1837D13C2, misconduct or incompetency in the practice of contracting. Justification, the deposit was paid on December 11th, 2024, and permitting was not obtained until not obtained within the required 30-day time frame. Supporting documentation, Investigators Exhibit E, permit issued on May 13th, 2025.
Attached to the agenda, you also have the complaint form filed by the complainant, re-roof proposal that was provided, proof of payment, notice of commencement, text communications between the parties, again, the notices. You have photos that you referenced in your investigation report and the permit, correct?
That's correct.
Staff would request that those items be added as supporting documentation for the hearing.
Motion to add supporting documentation.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Approved.
Thank you. At this time, Ms. Reber, will you take us through a synopsis of what this case involved?
Escambia County Building Services staff received a formal complaint from Miss Lily O. Johnson alleging that James Howard, doing business as James F. Howard Construction, Inc., failed to complete a re-roof project on her home in accordance with the Florida Building Code. Ms. Johnson further alleges that the roof installation resulted in leaks and interior damage to her home. According to Ms. Johnson, she entered into an agreement with Mr. Howard in early December 2024 for a re-roof project. The contract amount was $8,303.75, and she paid a deposit of $4,303.75 on December 11th, 2024. Ms. Johnson states that she and Mr. Howard had a verbal agreement that the new shingles would match those of her neighboring roof as required by her homeowners. A homeowners association. And the project would be completed by December 31st, 2024 for tax purposes. The written proposal, however, lists December 21, 2025 as an approximate completion date. Ms. Johnson reports that despite repeated calls to Mr. Howard, the roof was not completed by the agreed upon date. On February 14th, 2025, after no work had begun, she requested a refund of her deposit. She alleges Mr. Howard informed her that work would begin that day and sent his son to have her sign a prepared notice of commencement. Ms. Johnson further alleges that she contacted Mr. Howard in March of 2025 to determine the status of the roof and that he advised her the roof had passed inspection. Upon viewing the roof herself, Ms. Johnson discovered that the shingles did not match those of her neighbors as agreed. When she raised this issue with Mr. Howard, Mr. Howard told her he had provided a better shingle. Ms. Johnson states that she confirmed with her HOA that the shingles were required to match and notified Mr. Howard accordingly. She also stated that she informed him she would not make final payment until the corrected shingles were installed. Ms. Johnson reports that she was out of town and upon returning on March 13th, 2025, discovered that the roof had leaked.
Excuse me.
Yes.
It should be May.
I'm sorry, it is May 13th, 2025, discovered that the roof had leaked, causing interior ceiling damage. She contacted Mr. Howard, who said he would personally inspect the damage. However, only his son arrived to take photos. Although Mr. Howard indicated he would send a crew to repair the roof, Ms. Johnson states that to her knowledge, no corrective work was performed. She ultimately hired another contractor to install a tarp until the matter could be resolved. As part of the county's investigation, an inspection of the roof was conducted, during which several code violations were identified. Mr. Howard was notified of both the complaint and the inspection findings, but failed to respond to either. A search of our records confirmed that a re-roof permit for Ms. Johnson's address was issued to James F. Howard Construction on March 13th, 2025, and a final inspection was conducted on March 14th, 2025.
That concludes our investigation report. Again, Lily is here if you would like to speak with her and ask her any questions.
Let me just ask one question. So after the final inspection, did it pass?
It passed inspection. It was by affidavit.
Yep, but did it pass according to the homeowners association's type of color and all that?
No, that's never
never been corrected.
resolved.
Okay.
We don't get involved. The county doesn't get involved with
I was
HOA
just
requirements.
trying to figure out her position that, you know, she's obligated to do what the homeowners association asks. And I looked at the images and it definitely showed different colorations and even the different type of shingles that they use versus architectural versus the straight shingles. Okay, would you like to add anything else on top of that, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, thank you for hearing me today. I'm just very disappointed in the work that Mr. Howard did. The first thing I told him in the text that I sent him was that the roof would have to be the same as my neighbors, because she was the first one, and in fact the people that just left Freeman did her roof. But anyway, they did the coloring, and so because we're like a quadruplex, everybody's has to be the same. And so that was the very first thing I told him in the text. And so I was, first of all, I was disappointed because I told him for tax purposes I needed for that work to be finished. And he agreed by the end of December or last year. And I kept calling and calling, and he never came, never did the work or anything. And so in mid-February, I called and said, hey, nothing has been done. I want my money back. And he told me someone was coming that day. And they did come the next day, and they began the work. And it was in March. Now, this work was supposed to have been completed in December. So here we are in mid-March, and he told me he was through. And so I don't live in that house, my brother does. And so I went out, and I just went to my knees. I could not believe that it was the wrong color. Of all things, that was something that I consistently said to him. And so that was in March. And I was not going to pay him until he completed, made it the same material. And he did tell me that it was he put a better shingle on than my neighbor. And in fact, I had another roofer to come out and who had put my roof on previously. I called him, and he did say it's a better roof. I mean, better shingles, but it's a flat roof, and I don't think they knew what they were doing. The one that I'm going to get to do it does know, but it was just very frustrating for me. And so I even had said to him, okay, give me half of my money back. I had paid him $4,300. I said, give me half of my money back and we'll call it a deal. And he never really responded to that. Once I officially filed this, he did say he wanted to work things out with me. So I said, I'm open to that. And, but he never, he never contacted me. I contacted him again, and I said, you're doing what you do. You haven't said anything. You haven't gotten back with me about this. And he told me he was working out of town and when he would be home and if we could meet after that. And I told him, yes, we could, but he never followed up after that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Do we have any other violations on Mr. Howard and any other permits that he has currently pulled?
We can bring up his permitting history so you can view the permitting history. As far as other cases against him, we have had prior complaints, but no disciplinary action, like his license has not been revoked or suspended historically. Let me just go ahead and bring up that permitting history for you.
His license is currently inactive.
It is inactive?
It is.
And he has had complaints before, so.
When did his license go inactive?
I'm bringing that up now. Give me just a second. So what you'll see is I'm bringing up his licensing card for Escambia County by searching his name. Now, this license has not had any action against it. This board has taken action against his state certified license historically.
Okay.
So that he has two different licenses. But we're going to look at this license. He did not renew it in June of this year. So that is why it's at an inactive status. As far as permitting goes, you can see here, I'll just expand it out to 50. Within the last couple of years, he's got about maybe 6, 8 that are open still. If you go back further, you'll see either closed or some expired. So that means those didn't get finished out.
Then this is on the license that's the complaint is on, correct?
That's correct.
And you mentioned he had another license also?
He does have a state certified license that is registered with Escambia County, and you will see, I'll bring that license up. He did have cases, and the result of those cases were his permitting privileges were revoked.
Currently, are they revoked?
They are.
Without license? Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
That was done in 2023.
Okay. Any discussion from the board?
I'm not following. How did he pull a permit on the December of 2024, but his licensing privileges, his permitting privileges were pulled?
So that was with his other license, his residential contractor's license. This is his roofing license. So he was still able to pull permits under his roofing license. And he pulled the permit for this roof prior to him not renewing his roofing license.
Okay, there's no discussion. We need a motion to move it to disciplinary hearing, correct?
I make a motion to move this into disciplinary hearing.
We have a motion to move it to disciplinary hearing.
I'm sorry, I did it wrong.
If you could,
Big motion with the name.
Ms. Mary, if you could include what alleged violations you think occurred.
You can cite them by statute. It's on the board.
Thank you.
It's code number. I apologize.
Thank you. Okay. Make a motion to move this into disciplinary hearing for James Howard for statute 18-37D 13C2, misconduct or incompetency in the practice of contracting.
Two above that.
Oh, and those also, okay. And 18-37D 9H, failure to supervise construction activities, and 18-37D6, mismanagement or misconduct of causing financial harm to the customer.
D8.
D8. Oh, sorry. Okay.
So we have a motion?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. The motion carries. Thank you.
All right. Let me clean things up here. Our next item is
Before we go to the next agenda item, so in the disciplinary, do we need to have Ms. Johnson bring any restitution?
that would be a request that we would get, that we would put into her, to provide additional documentation in preparation for that disciplinary hearing.
Okay.
Our next item is Saul D. Spade, doing business as LM Construction and Roofing LLC, state certified license number CGC 1535248, contractor competency board complaint number 250876 COM. It's in regard to Melissa Shea, the complainant at 7170 Klondike Road, Pensacola, Florida 32526. Mr. Spade, are you present today? Okay, perfect. And Miss Shea, are you present today?
Ms. Shea lives out of town. She's going to call in. We proceed with this hearing.
Okay. All right. If I'm not mistaken,
On the record.
right. Okay, so just to let you know what we were discussing over here, we did receive communications from an attorney's office, and they were going to request a continuance. And so that's what I was kind of asking, is that going to be your request on behalf of Mr. Spade?
Let me slow you down just a moment. If you can come to a microphone, that would be great, and we need your name for the record.
Correct.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. My name's Allison Martin, and do you know my address too? Okay, 2579 Pine Forest Road, Cantonment, Florida 32533.
And what is your affiliation with Mr. Spade?
So I work for LM Construction and Roofing. I am an administrative assistant. I also do the service manager for LM Construction and Roofing.
Got you. Again, we did receive a communication. Apparently, that person that communicated with us is not here.
So, what did you say your name was? I'm sorry.
Allison Martin.
Martin. Ms. Martin, maybe we can hear her side of the story and then see what position she draws.
I think what we need to figure out is, was there going to be a continuance?
So, Logan Martin, the owner of LM Construction and Roofing, he wanted me to see if, based on documentation that we have, if this case could be dismissed.
Okay.
We have documentation demonstrating that Logan Martin, as the owner of LM Construction and Roofing, was the sole signer of a purchase agreement for 7170 Klondike Road. And
Let me slow you down. Hold on just a moment.
Okay.
Has this been seen by our staff?
No, it hasn't.
Why don't we do this? Why don't you give that to the staff?
Okay.
You're good. And let's take a look at it for a moment, and
Okay.
she can give you, and that'll help the board, and we can move on to the next one. My staff, if may take a few minutes, because I think she's got to handle another case.
I understand.
Does that sound good? You can sit down right there with her and sit, if you'd like, for a moment. If that's, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Sorry.
Make sure we're following protocol and everything. That's it.
It's just if it's something that can be resolved, that information would be good for the board.
Understood. Okay, so we'll move into disciplinary hearing.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We'll continue this one until after we go through the disciplinary hearing. If I. Thank you. We're going to go into the restitution hearing for disciplinary. If y'all need to, still continue to discuss. You just don't need like it all picking up on the mic. And so the next item is restitution only. Christopher W. Brown, doing business as Shooting Stars Construction LLC, state registered license number RG 0019314, contractor competency board complaint number 250649 COM. It's in regard to Jakima McCorvey, the homeowner complainant at 1819 North A Street, Pensacola, Florida 32501. Proper notice was sent to the respondent. This hearing is only in regard to restitution only. At our last hearing, Mr. Brown was found in violation, and you requested that Ms. McCorvey come back with some restitution numbers. Ms. McCorvey is present today. I'm going to go ahead and have her sworn in. She did provide us some documentation, but it was after the agenda went out, so I have that for you. Ms. McCorvey, if you could please come to the podium and state your name and address, and I'm going to have you sworn.
Ready? Jakima McCorvey, 1819 North A Street, Pensacola, Florida, 32501.
You swear affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes.
All right, Ms. McCorvey, if you want to go ahead and give them a rundown of the document that I've distributed.
You have a copy of it?
Here you go.
You can use mine. There you go. That's okay.
Having a contractor that has looked at the properties. We've discussed this. Do you need to speak with him as well?
Ms. McCorvey, if you could just pull the mic to you. And what Ms. McCorvey has stated is that since the time she sent this to us, she does have another additional item. She has a contractor here to make corrections, and she would like for him to speak as well.
That's fine.
We have, I guess,
You could speak up just a little bit too, please. Thank you.
We've determined, I guess, that about 17% of the work has been done to the property, which on the back page is where we broke down the correct amounts as to the contract amount, what was actually paid out, and what would be the restitution amount. And that total came up to $105,000, $442.50.
So if I'm reading this correctly, the total amount of the contract was $180,000. Total paid was $52,172.50.
That's to the subcontractors.
Subcontractor. And then the balance remaining is $127,827.50. And you're saying 17% of the work was done.
Right.
Which calculates you $21,730.
Correct.
And $75,000 has been paid. It leaves a balance of $53,270 that you're saying is that you're requesting to be refunded back to you or put in for restitution.
Yes.
Okay. How did you come up with the $105,442?
If you could come forward, that would be great.
So what Ms. McCorvey included in here appears to be what she also paid to the subcontractors. That should have been the responsibility of Ms.
Okay.
Mr.
Okay.
Brown.
Okay.
She paid the additional $52,172.50. I mean, the $53,270 to subcontractors.
Do we have documentation of that?
We do. It was attached to the agenda.
Okay.
At the
And it's been verified? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you went ahead and,
This is evidence, yes.
again, to just kind of clarify, you've paid the contractor $52,172.50, and then you yourself paid the subcontractors $53,270.
No, I paid the subcontractors a total of $52,000.
Okay,
And I paid the actual contractor
Contractor
$75,000.
75,000. Okay, and then minus the 17% comes to the 53. Okay. Okay. Did everybody understand that? Okay. So your request right now is for $105,442.50.
Right, but now that the contractor has looked at the property, he's saying that the accessory building is no good at all. That the whole building has to come down because it's been left unattended for 2 years and it was never dried in. So everything that's in there isn't any good anymore.
So, is there any open permits on this job right now?
No.
Have you? No.
Permitting is currently at an expired status.
Understood.
Yeah.
And this is in the city limits, right?
Yes.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Yes. Are you planning to get, I guess, an estimate on the accessory building and try to add that, or what?
Good morning.
Could you state your name?
Contractor with Design Home Builders. Have 35 years experience doing this. First time in front of the board with you guys, but I try to help them.
Give us your name.
What they just did.
Excuse me. Give us your name, man.
I mean, they know me for a while. I've been doing a lot of work for the county and housing department, and whatever.
Excuse me.
Give us your name.
Name and address.
I'm sorry, sir.
Your name and address.
Well, what I'm trying to say is what they did in there is that house being open.
Hello.
I'm sorry. What is your name?
I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry. My name is Jose Antonio Fernandez. My company is Design Home Builders.
And your address?
Your company
yes,
address?
My address is 2460 Bluff Circle, Pensacola, Florida, 32503.
All right, thank you. Now go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm a little deaf and I have a hard time to understand.
Thank you.
I have a short time and notice to assess the entire building. It's 2 buildings. It's 1 apartment, 2 storage on the back of the property and the front of the property. It's a new construction. It's a lot of flaws. A lot of stuff done no to code. I guess they've been done instant, no windows, impact, no protection. It's going to have to be redone, a lot of parts in the house to meet code and to pass inspections. My main concern is the back part of the house, or the back house, the 2 storage, which has been exposed to the weather for the last 4 years. As been said that all the plywood, subfloor, walls, etc., has been it's rotten. It's all the wood is rotten. So it's not just the restitution of the money they will get or not being paid. Is they will have to demo half of that building to make it livable or finish the construction part of it. So it's sad that we have contractors and you guys see it every day to do this kind of shaggy work and not complete the job. You know, this is. I guess when we say contractors, I say it'd be for good or bad. It's like I get married with my trade. It's not good. I definitely don't have no estimated to tell you how much it's going to be. The redone on the 2 storage building on the back, but the framing part of the house is done and still had to be redone. Some of the parts they did that they missed the plans, and they have the back part of the house. We're talking about again the 2 storage house on the back. They build them backwards. I don't know. So I'm doing some work for the family. They say they want me to go look the house, which I did, and I'm here. I don't know the procedure on it. Like I said, I've never been here, but they just know the restitution. They will have to include in some additional costs to redo what they've been done.
But you don't have that amount.
No, sir. No, at no point was, I mean, finish it. I know he probably, the cost that we already being exposed and open is $50-some thousand he spent. It was what he spent. I don't know how much they paid. I didn't went to that detail on it. I never got a request to get that. But, I mean, it's going to be over $100,000 to do the back. Everything had to come out. Plywood, roofing, decking, subfloors. Because mold growing, unfortunately, you don't have no pictures. I thought you got some pictures of the. You have any pictures submitted?
They have.
Oh well, yeah, you got some pictures, so it can pictures tell you more words than words.
The pictures he's referencing were previous pictures that were attached as evidence.
Yeah, we saw.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Before he gets away,
Sorry.
if you could come back, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I apologize, but because of the confusion getting his name, we didn't get him sworn in. And so if we could have, so what we need you to do is swear that the testimony you gave was the truth. Can you do that in reverse for us?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you swear affirm that the testimony you just gave is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I have to say all that?
No, no.
Just yes or no.
That's true.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so currently you're asking for restitution of $105,442.50. Of course, with the gentleman's testimony right now that he's saying it's going to be whatever the dollar amount is to put it back in its place, but also reference he said around $100,000. So your restitution's for $105,000, and he's saying it's going to take $100,000 to finish the job that needs to be done correctly.
On the accessory building, yes.
On the accessory building, okay. All right, so we don't have that. I guess the option would be to wait if you'd like to wait. And again, I'm throwing this out there to get that number and then bring it back to us. Or would you like us to make a motion? Would you like us to move forward with the 105? Because without anything in writing, we can't just arbitrarily say it's going to cost the next amount. We need documentation to show with pictures and stuff stating that here's what's going to have to be redone from what's already been done by the previous contractor.
See what the lawyer's saying.
I'm taking a look at this. I think what she's asked for so far is the reimbursement for what your expenditures are already. So if she were given, if you were to order that she have the restitution of $105,000, $442 and $105,442.50, then that would make her whole as to the contract.
Right.
And then basically what she would do is recontract or get a new contract with a new contractor. And then that's not necessarily a matter of reimbursement.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense to you? So it would start her over from the beginning as if she had never contracted with him.
Once she gets this, follows through with the $105,000 restitution.
Right. Is that what you're asking for? Okay.
I'll look to the board for direction on either a motion or discussion.
We've seen where people come back with more information to get more restitution. So is that something that would apply in this case?
That's why I was trying to establish with her what she wanted, because that would allow you to make a final decision and issue a final order. You could reserve, however, if getting her money back makes her whole on the original contract, and basically what you're doing is going into new construction to repair all the damages.
Well, if the accessory building isn't any good as of now, would that count into the 17% that we're giving him credit for?
Right. So that's why you need to make sure that that's what they're asking is what is your what do you anticipate is going to be your total damages, not just what you lost on the contract, but what it's going to cost you to fix what his damage caused. So
that would be the additional $100,000.
Yes, ma'am.
but you would need that in writing.
Well, you would need to bring some documentation of that. That's why they're, so basically what they're asking is that they can, and I don't know anything about this individual. We may be talking monopoly money right now. So, I mean, that's a lot of times, unfortunately, that is what happens. We can order things, the board can order things, but in my experience, it's really hard to get restitution. So what they're saying is they can order that amount now and leave it open for you to come back with additional information. I think that's what you're asking. You would just maintain jurisdiction over it as far as if there's new restitution amounts.
Correct.
That's what they're looking to do, is maintain jurisdiction over the restitution. But go ahead and issue the order for the 105. I think that's what I'm hearing the discussion.
It is.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Waters? Thank you.
Another question. Do we have anything from the city building inspection department about this case?
I don't have any documentation. I believe the inspection history was part of the previous.
We didn't receive anything additional from what we received previously from the city. Permits are expired. It's still at a status of, sitting where it was left off.
Would you like to look at some of the original evidence?
No, I just know the city, they are pretty tough. So I just want to know what their position was on it.
I think that's kind of why he walked away from it, was because of the push back from the city. I don't think he was prepared for that.
Yeah, a lot of the requests has to be done online, and you can go in there and walk out still without an answer. And a lot of that you got to figure out on your own, and a lot of the old school guys just don't understand how to do the paperwork that's required online.
I think we had to go through about 3 months before we figured out that we needed 2 separate permits for each unit. Each one had to have its own separate permit. So they never could get those. It took us about 3 months to figure that out. And that's, I think, when I finally met Mr. Brown, was when we ended up at the city together and having to try to figure out why we couldn't move forward with the accessory building with the single family dwelling.
Understood. So we're seeking a motion, or?
I make a motion to approve the $105,442.50 for restitution and leave it open for her to come back for additional from the accessory building.
To clarify the motion, it's to award the amount requested and to maintain jurisdiction for the purposes of additional restitution.
Maintain the jurisdiction for the restitution.
Good.
Come back.
We have a motion. We have a second. And we have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you. When you do, and if you do, have bids that you've done that shows replacement, you can get with staff and bring it over.
Will do. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we're going to circle back to Saul Spade, probable cause hearing. At this time, based on additional information that staff received, staff is actually going to request a continuance. We do not have enough time to go over what is being provided and get something
Understood.
to present to the board in regard to what we received. Also, Ms. Shea has confirmed with Melissa, our investigator, Ms. Reber, that she wants to be present, so she's going to make arrangements to also come as well to the next hearing. So staff is requesting a continuance.
So do we need a motion for a continuance? If I can get a motion for continuance, please.
Motion for continuance.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Do we need to identify what we're? All, okay.
It'll be at our next scheduled hearing.
That'd be the next. Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next item is Jeffrey W. Myers, doing business as Jeff Myers Construction, Inc., state registered license number RR 282811736, contractor competency board complaint number 250765 COM. Again, this is in regard to our actual board bringing an investigation as a result of Santa Rosa County's taking action against a license. Mr. Myers is present today. This matter was continued from our last board meeting. At that time, Mr. Myers spoke about a potential appeal, and so the board determined to continue the hearing. We have been in communication with Santa Rosa County about that appeal. Communications that we received were from Mr. Danheiser and Vanessa, and they had requested additional documentation from Mr. Myers for that appeal and have to date not received that. Mr. Myers again is present today. If he's going to provide testimony, I'm going to go ahead and have him sworn in.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the board's discretion on how they would like to proceed? I can bring the administrative complaint up and just remind the board of what was determined at the probable cause hearing. They determined that there was probable cause to believe that the respondent violated Code Section 1837C7. Again, that's revocation or suspension of a certificate holder's registration by the CILB or another jurisdiction. It's up to the board.
Okay, so I think you guys just mentioned that Santa Rosa didn't get the documentation they requested.
I've been sending Tom all the paperwork that he's asked me to send.
Okay.
He wanted a breakdown on each thing, and I've sent that to him, and I've showed her all the emails and stuff that I've sent him, and all of it, so.
Yeah, but currently right now, as far as where we're positioned, is they don't have that, and we have to, of course, based on Santa Rosa County, Escambia County, we have to kind of look at what they're going to stand and what position they're going to be in before, again, my opinion, that we can move forward with your request.
Right.
In the backup, there are emails attached between Mr. Myers and Mr. Danheiser, and then also the signed final order from Santa Rosa County. Within the emails, Mr. Danheiser says that he hasn't received the below referenced information as of yet.
And that being the factual argument against the homeowner's allegation?
I'm not sure what all the attorney requested from Mr. Myers. I just know that that is where this matter stands with Santa Rosa right now. They are telling us that they are waiting on Mr. Myers.
Okay, I'm just going through the thread, and that's what's attached.
Danheiser told me, he said the document that I'd signed on getting the final payment wasn't a big issue. The issue was to show where where the homeowner had paid out of his pocket and stuff, and that's the stuff I've been sending him.
We did send a request to Santa Rosa to see if they could have someone present today.
Not here.
Yeah, that is correct.
They're wrong. I mean,
well, currently, your request from this board is to reciprocate. Is that?
No. So, what's before the board is whether the board is going to discipline Mr. Myers based on our administrative complaint. Are you going to find him in violation of being having his license suspended or revoked in another jurisdiction? Mr. Myers has said, hey, I'm trying to file an appeal. This board has continued this matter a few times, waiting on the outcome of that appeal. The communications we're receiving from Santa Rosa are appeal really hasn't been filed because we are requesting this information and have not received it.
Okay.
So they did issue a final order in this case.
But
Whereas this board has an appeal window, Santa Rosa's board does not have a time frame in which an appeal has to be filed.
I understand. And currently, is Mr. Myers able to pull permits in Escambia County? Or is
Can
it
you repeat that, sir?
Currently, right now, is Mr. Myers able to pull permits in Escambia County?
He is, because this board has not taken any action against him.
Okay. Is there any violations against the license currently?
Not to date. This is the first hearing in my history with the board that we've had regarding Mr. Myers.
Does he have any active permits in Escambia?
I can look that up.
Yes, I do. Have one on Winslow Drive.
Okay.
What is a project?
It's a detached garage.
Here is the license card for Mr. Myers. As you can see, there's no banners up top referencing any disciplinary. Associated permits. Like he said, he does have one at 1102 Winslow. There is an open permit from 2022 on Turnberry. It maybe just be that it's not closed. It did get its inspection, didn't get closed. That could be a reason for that. But his only open project really appears to be 1102 Winslow.
Okay. So you understand our position, right, Mr. Myers?
Yes, sir, I do.
But
I haven't done anything wrong in Escambia County, and we're working on that appeal for Santa Rosa County. So, in my opinion, I shouldn't be punished twice, is the way I look at it when I've got good standing with you folks over here.
How long have you held a license in Escambia County?
2008, 10, something like that. I don't remember.
So he has definitely been holding a license ever since we switched over to our new system. So that was in 2017. And I would have to do some research to see exactly when he obtained it.
It's been right after I got my Santa Rosas. Mm-hmm. That's been 2007 or 8.
The board has any questions? So our options right now are 1 or 2.
So I'm going to hand this back to Melissa. This is an email and from Santa Rosa. Go ahead.
Before she goes into it, I've read what she's about to read. I just want to make sure the board is aware that this is, as an email, it's a public record. She can read the content into the record. If the board agrees to allow that to come in as evidence, that would be another motion. For evidence to be entered as public record, and then she can subject it to follow-up. I don't think that Mr. Myers has seen it, so I would allow him to read it first before you read it into the record. So this is a communication between Santa Rosa County and our department.
Okay.
And all right. I see that Mr. Myers has had an opportunity to review it until they're useful. Mr. Patel.
Sorry.
I see that Mr. Myers has had an opportunity to review the the public record tech email, even though it hasn't been printed. I believe they want to move that into evidence by reading it into evidence, and then that would be subject to being added to the public record that's online.
Do we need a motion before or after?
You would do the motion before.
Okay, we can have a motion.
Motion to move the email into evidence.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries.
If Mr. Myers has an objection, this would be his opportunity to object to the evidence. He certainly can still comment on it, but if he doesn't have an objection to why it shouldn't come in
Okay.
as a public record, and that's how it's being omitted as a public record.
Okay.
Melissa, if you could read that email in.
Give Mr. Myers couldn't hear what we were talking about. So the board has voted that they would listen to the email that
That's fine.
Ms. Reaper has. You don't have any objection to them hearing it?
No.
Thank you.
This is an email on October 23rd. I sent to Santa Rosa, but Vanessa is the complaints investigator over there. I said, "Good afternoon, Vanessa. The CCB continued Jeff Myers' disciplinary hearing last month after he informed us that he was working with attorney Danhauser. We've rescheduled the hearing for November 5th. Are you aware of any updates or developments regarding his appeal or whatever stage that process is currently in? He led us to believe he was still working on the appeal with the county." She came back and said, "Good afternoon. He is not working on an appeal with Santa Rosa County. I have sent his final order to DVPR. Our county attorney asked him several times for information regarding his appeal, and we never received any documentation from him." Then I went on to say that was the last update Jennifer had from Mr. Danhauser. I believe you spoke with him. Just wanted to double check before my notices went out today. I have the final order that you sent to me. And that was our last.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'd already got a copy of the final order thing from Vanessa in the mail at my house way before the 23rd. And me and Dan was still talking and stuff on all that. So she's one of them that I proved to him on the thing that she didn't want to take credit for saying some wrong stuff to me.
If I could assist the board, it's procedural that you have to have the final order,
right,
and able to appeal the final order.
Right.
So that's a procedural thing. If I don't know that you're saying it was issued incorrectly. You're just saying that that's what you're appealing is the final order.
Yes.
Okay. And you do plan on appealing?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And you provided us the original communication that you had. Santa Rosa did not provide me anything else. Do you have anything
I don't
further as far as the communication with him?
I'd have to look it up.
Attached to the agenda is the last communication we have from Mr. Danhauser. In August, they requested the factual argument of Mr. Myers, and then in September, Mr. Danhauser says, "I haven't received the below referenced information," and that's the last communications that we have. That was forwarded to us from Mr. Myers.
Yeah. I think with it, Mr. Danhauser is just looking to receive the factual argument against the homeowner's allegation. And so Mr. Myers, if he wants to continue with the appeal, which he says he does, then he just needs to send that in to Mr. Danhauser. So in my humble opinion, I would say we just continue it until the appeal process is completed, or give him an allotted amount of time to do the appeal.
I agree.
Got your mic on.
I make a motion to continue.
Hold on.
I was listening to what Ms. Luna said.
Okay.
I know that there.
Pause on the
You
motion.
do have a permit out, correct? You have a house that you're building here right now?
It's a detached.
Okay. Okay. So you just need to be aware that you have a project that's in the works, or almost finished, sounds like, or finished. We don't have a closed permit on it yet.
Correct.
So, what you're suggesting is your second part of your suggestion. My advice to you would be that you do want to set limits on that, because you don't want to leave these cases hanging out there. The fortunate part for the county is that we're not dealing with the victim. So if you had a victim, you would probably be in a different posture. So just keep that in mind. In this situation, I came from the criminal justice world. You call them victims. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person.
Hope I'm not.
You don't have a complainant, I should say, beyond what is actually happening is because there was actions against his license in Santa Rosa. So, you're in a more favorable position to allow you some leniency.
So my question with that, because we are going into the holiday season, so I feel like putting it on a 30, 60 day is too few, because we also have Santa Rosa dealing with an attorney, and I know how bureaucracy goes, and local government can be a little slow. So would a good suggestion be 90 days? What would be your opinion?
Well, I think that's a discussion for you to have before you make your motion with the board.
So what's the temperature for the board?
Let's see. This is November.
We got the fingers out.
It may be helpful to get some information from your investigator, or from your board secretary, to know how long this has been going. When was the final order entered, and that type of thing. I can tell you in Escambia County, when we do an appeal, it's a very quick turnaround. And also, if you're going to file an appeal with the appellate court, you have 30 days. So these things move quickly at this level.
But is there a time duration for Santa Rosa? I thought I heard that there isn't any in the appeal process.
There is not.
Like statute limitations, I guess.
Well, there's still going to be appellate if he was going to go appeal to a circuit court. He's still
Okay.
in state law. But it sounds like their county appellate practice does not have
open-ended.
I haven't read it, but that's what I heard as well.
Well, actually, within the final order, it says they have a notice of appeal within 15 days of the date of execution by filing petition with the Santa Rosa County Board of County Commissioners. Whenever I spoke with the building official, she didn't mention that, but I do see in this final order that there is that statement in there. This was done and ordered and executed back in July. We heard this case originally in August.
And that, just to be clear, that's just notice of appeal. That doesn't mean the appeal has been filed. That just means that you put them on notice, however you handled that. So that's another thing that we don't know, whether or not the notice was filed.
Well, Danheiser's one's handling it.
Yeah, I understand that.
Back paperwork and stuff that he asked me to.
Right, I understand that. I'm just trying to make sure everybody understands how these notices work. And so if you had communication with him within 15 days, that's a Santa Rosa question for them to resolve. So I'm just trying to make sure everybody understands. It doesn't mean that the appeal has to be filed in 15 days. It means that you have to give notice in Santa Rosa that you were going to appeal the case. In state court, the notice would have had to have been filed in 30 days, and the appeal would have had to have been filed within 70 days of the 30-day notice.
So, Tim, I believe you received communications that he did file within the window, correct? If you could speak to that.
I used to do work for his dad. I'm not a bad person.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I don't think they have a deadline. And the way I understand it, he has applied for an appeal, but we're waiting on other information.
So what was the date on the notice of appeal? What was the date on the order?
The date on
The order was July 25th.
That is correct. The date was July 25th when this was executed.
So that means that he filed that notice, if that's correct, his notice was filed within 15 days of July 25th, which would put it before mid-August. And it appears that things have been...
September, October.
I'm just trying to help you give you if you're going to give a continuance, I want to make sure that you understand that you set your control window. Once again, like I said, we don't have a complainant.
Yeah.
I apologize. We don't have a complainant. And so that kind of gives you some leeway. But you also want to keep in mind, currently there are no open permits in Escambia County. And I don't recall the seriousness of the case that was in Santa Rosa. Well, there's an open permit. I apologize. But it doesn't sound like there's any new jobs.
No.
And the,
Me myself too, I just wanna get the deal over with and get it all done myself.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like I told the board the first time I come over here, I can't get a fair hearing in front of that board over there and Tambra and Vanessa there.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to make sure our board understands what they can do procedurally. That's all I can do. Thank you.
Okay.
And I did confirm with him that the last communication that there was between him and Mr. Danheiser was October 1st, where Mr. Danheiser asked him for some additional information. So that's the last communication.
What is that additional information he's requesting from you?
Yeah, he has a whole list of. Here, I'll let you.
Is the list outside of the email?
No,
Oh.
it's all part of the record.
Okay.
It was.
Basically, I think asking his argument.
I got you.
Yeah. he
Okay,
was
that's what I
asking-
wanted to know.
That's the only thing I see the fact.
It was what the homeowner had said that he had paid out of his pocket. And Tom wanted me to go ahead and explain to him why I don't know that. On there was different breakdowns that he had sent.
And can you do that?
Ma'am?
Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think you can do that within the next 30 days? Get that to Mr.
Well, it depends on my knee. I'm supposed to have surgery, a knee replacement on it and on my hand, so.
Okay.
Should.
Yeah. Okay.
What we're looking at?
So you thinking 30 or 60 days? 30?
Yeah, I'm not in favor of letting this continue to drag on.
Okay.
30 days is good.
And you can always do diction or dictate it to the. Okay. I make a motion to continue to our next board meeting with this agenda item to give him approximately 30 days to get the appeal in and processed to Mr. Danheiser with Santa Rosa County for that factual argument going against the list of alleged expenses that the homeowner paid out of pocket.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand, right hand. Motion carries.
Yeah, you summed it up perfect.
Oh, why, thank you so much, sir.
If you can,
Sounded like Tom there.
I'd like to say I sound like Christy.
if you can get that information to Santa Rosa County, it'll help us make a decision.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And good luck with your knee and your wrist.
Thanks.
All right, board, there's nothing else on our agenda. We will not see you again before Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving
Good.
to all of you.
Motion to adjourn? I guess we got a motion. All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.